So I wanted to make some dub techno using step sequencers, like kind of hypnotic dub techno. And to do it, I'm going to be using a dub chord sample to begin with, because I don't think you could really do this with a synth for the technique I want to do. So let's load up the step sequencer first. Now this is a 3-step sequencer and I highly recommend it. It's great fun to work with. If you've never used a step sequencer and you're into making techno and stuff, do it, man. Just start using step sequencers. They are so much fun and like you just get instant results with them. So we got a step sequencer there, okay? Let's go and grab a dub chord sample. I'm gonna go into one of my older sample packs, Dub Alchemy. There's a link for the sample pack right here and down in the comments. So I'm going to choose the Slick Dub Chords sample. And we don't want the simpler, we want sampler. So we can right click in here and just select sampler, okay. And the first thing I want to do is go over to the MIDI section here and set the velocity to the sample offset. And then turn the amount up, okay. And that means when we have a change in velocity, the sample start point is going to move, okay? Now this is very important, so remember this. So now if we go over to MDD Snake, right? First thing I'm going to do is just say random all, which will give us a random bunch of notes, gates and velocities, okay? And let's just press play and see what it's come up with. And we'll see the play position skipping about because there are velocity differences there, okay? So we're beginning to make the sound. I'm just going to put a compressor on here just to give us a bit of compression and turn things up a bit. The next thing I want to do is go back into the sampler and this velocity thing here, turn it to 0, so the differences in velocity won't affect the volume of the sound. So velocity is only really affecting the sample start point. Cool, so we're getting there. And the next thing I want to do is go into the notes section and just see this place thing which says steps here. Let's reduce that just to 1, so it just stays on one note. And let's specify what note we want that to be. I'm going to leave it on C3. And let's change it to 8th note timing. The next thing we want to do is go into the gate section here. I'm going to change it to 8th note as well. So it's not so rapid fire, it's a bit more chill. And now it starts to get kind of experimental, right? I'd like to make this kind of like a hypnotic dub techno track. And to achieve that, we could set the step length here in the velocity section to like an uneven amount, like say 7 steps. And let's go up to the range section here and select a small. The range is like how big a distance the velocity is gonna travel, but let's just select a smaller portion and the sample will just skip around this smaller section, giving us less variation. just press random here on the gates. And let's have like an 8-step sequence. Okay, cool. So we're getting there. I'm now going to play around with the amp envelope here in the sampler and just turn up the attack a little bit to get rid of any clicks or anything. And let's give it some release. Cool. So we could also play around with the filter here in the sampler. In the modulation section here, we could map the filter here. So we get some cut-off modulation. Make it a bit slower. Could even give it a synchronized timing. So let's go ahead and put a echo device on here. Give it some reverb. Change it to ping pong mode. And play around with the filter here. Maybe cut out some of the low end. And we put it before the compressor. And I'm going to put a limiter on here before the echo device. And just reduce the ceiling so that it kind of really evens out the sound. So it's less dynamic, it's more a flat ambient sound in a way. And let's give it some modulation in the echo device. I'll unsync it. We can even give it some saturation on the input. Turn the output down to compensate. Give it some random gates again. So let's put in a straight 4 to the floor kick drum to offset the kind of hypnotic dub chord. Okay, so I'm gonna go and grab a kick drum. Let's just get a drum rack and throw it on this MIDI track. And I'm gonna go grab a kick drum sample out of my latest sample pack, Sounds of a Forgotten World 2. And yeah, I put that kick in. There's a link to the sample pack right here and down in the comments. So let's put in a 4 to the floor pattern. let's throw a compressor on the dub chord track and get some sidechain action coming from the kick. Nice, nothing too dramatic, just a subtle amount. Okay, cool. So we're getting a little kind of a hypnotic thing going, but I'd like to take this even further and get it sounding even more hypnotic. So I'm going to load up another MIDI track and let's grab another percussion sample out of the sample pack. Sounds of a Forgotten World 2. Again, there's a link right here and down in the comments. Let's put that sample on a sampler right here. And we could change the clip length to 6/8 timing right here, the time signature 6/8, right? But make sure you move the loop point where it ends on the 2 there, so that you've got proper 6/8 timing, right? 1 to 2. But in between there and there, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 steps, okay? So let's just select a portion of the sample we want. Right there, sounding pretty cool, like a shaker, I guess. Let's go into the MIDI clip here. Right now it just sounds straight because it's basically like a 16th note here. It just sounds straight, but if you were to change, let's just get rid of a few of the notes. Let's just make it so it's less like kind of like an 8th note feel, right? But if we were to reduce the velocity on one of these notes, just like any one, we start to get a kind of an interesting rhythm because it's looping around. So that's working kind of nicely. But I'd like to put in another like sample on the drum rack here. No, just this sample right here, okay. Doesn't really matter too much. And let's just put it right here. So having that snare there just solidifies the 4/4 rhythm. Okay. And let's put that side chain over from the dub chord onto this field perc loop. Let's put a little something on the master bus just to like get things grooving even more. There's a cool free tape emulation device by Variety of Sound, the Ferric TDS. I'll just chuck that on there for now. And I like the mix glue preset. So we're starting to get like a hypnotic groove going on. So I've sent the shaker sample to a reverb. Let's just load up like a room reverb preset. And let's put a phaser on there to give it some movement just on the reverb. Right about there. Give it some LFO. Turn the phase down. You know what? I might put the phaser right on the sample. Yeah, that's better. So we've got a subtle bit of movement and a bit more space on the hi-hat there. Let's give it a bit more movement via some modulation too. Like we could give it turn retrigger off here on the LFO and set it to the pitch. Just give it a subtle amount of modulation. Not too much like that, just a subtle amount. We could create a lot of movement by modulating this echo device. What I'm going to do is record the output of this dub chord MIDI onto a new MIDI track, okay? Set the input to come from one, just press record. So I'll be uploading this live set onto my Patreon when it's done. There's a link for that right here down in the comments. And also there's a lot of exclusive content going up on there, and you'll be able to download all the live sets from all my YouTube tutorials, and you get at me for advice on your productions stuff, so please go check that out. So now we got our MIDI. I'm going to drag that over to the dub chord track. And let's turn off MDD Snake and just press play. So it's working. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to start recording into the arrangement view. And as we go, I'm going to start modulating stuff on this dub chord track. The echo device in particular. Actually, you know what? I'm going to modulate the release here. it's working pretty nicely. I love working with dub chord samples. You get a completely unique flavor for your dub techno. Samples unlock a creative realm which you can't access via just synthesis. Again, my two sample packs are late. All my sample packs on my Bandcamp have a lot of dub chord samples on them, and there's a link for the Bandcamp and the sample packs right here and down in the comments. Anyway, so we got the modulation on the release there, okay? So let's just loop that section, start modulating something else. We could modulate the feedback here on the echo device.